Greetings and salutations, viewers. Welcome to BookExpo 2018 yet again. I am Charles from Inspire the Muse, coming to you today with another author interview. This time we are talking to Wendy Plumb. Thank you for taking some time out to talk to us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're hoping to learn about your upcoming book. What is the title and what is it all about?
It's called ZZ Black, and it's a children's love story. So it's about a young farm girl who falls in love with a wild black stallion. And it's their journey together and how at the end she sets him free and why. And there's a magic barn with talking animals. And, it's a children's story about 8 to 12 years old. Mm-hmm. However, it's a love story, and I feel it's a love story for anybody. But because of the talking animals and the child that falls in love with the horse, it's categorized in 8 to 12. Okay. Kind of around the first time a girl gets a crush, gets that feeling of love.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What was your creative process like, bringing this idea to life?
Well, that's a great question. So I have a daughter who's 11 years old, and she loves animals. And she's an only child. Children tend to create little worlds because they don't have brothers and sisters. And I'm an only child as well. So I really understood what she was doing when she was doing it. And I'm a single mom, and I was going through a relationship when she was around 5 or 6 years old. And I journal. I'd always been writing since I was young. And I thought, it's very healing. So through the relationship, it was challenging. Mm-hmm. And so I started journaling and making a little story. And then I thought, he really wants to hear another love story. I mean, everyone's got a love story. So I transferred my real story into, because love is love. I mean, yeah. It's an emotion, and there's no age. And so I took the way my daughter is with her animals in her world, and all the characters in my book are friends of mine and someone that I know. And the horse is someone that I know. The girl is someone that I know. And I did that with the dialogue as well. So I thought, what would that pig say? Well, what would my friend say? and so all the names are someone that I know, whether it's somebody's pet, whether it's a woman that I took a course with, but every single character in the book represents something in my life. So that was my process, which made it really easy, especially with the dialogue. And the story itself is very emotional. At the end, everyone changes through the journey of the girl and the horse. And I also, raising a daughter and going through different relationships myself, I never understood the Disney happily ever after, the prince and the princess go off and live happily ever after, because it doesn't work that way. And I mean, sometimes it does, which is great, but a majority of the time you go through different. So I think sometimes people get, when they have especially the first love or the really first heart-wrenching experience and it doesn't work out, there comes a lot of either anger or resentment or the other person's bad or what did I do wrong? And so my story helps, and that was another reason I wrote it. It helps young people to understand love, that you can still love something and let it go, and you can still love something if it's different than you, and you can still love something if it's not right by your side, and it doesn't mean something's wrong or something went bad or it's somebody's fault. So that was really important to me, raising my daughter. And so my ending is very real. But everybody has a self-discovery and they go through a process of very unconditional love.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like it would be very relatable for readers as it's pulled from real life, so it's easy to get into the story.
Yes, and I think whether you read the story to yourself, like when kids old enough to read, or if you're a mom and you read it to your child that's just learning to read, you can go through it and explain what's going on. And really, I've had a couple different types of people read it, whether it's a 60-year-old man, a 19-year-old girl, my daughter's friend's age, and everyone has a different experience, which was really great for me. That was very
Nice.
rewarding. Yeah, I felt good about it. And now there's been a screenplay adapted off my book too.
Oh, congratulations.
So, yeah, that's really exciting. So a really amazing writer wrote the screenplay. I helped with the story. And it was great because he really kept the essence of my story, although we had to add characters and make because it's a short story, but the essence is very similar. So that's the next project.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So,
Were there any lessons you learned about the process along the way, or any surprises that came up as it got to the publication stage?
yes. Well, I knew nothing about publishing. I didn't start to write it thinking I was even going to get a book published. It had nothing to do with that. It was a personal thing. And in the beginning, my friend's daughter is an artist, and she's an amazing child prodigy. And so my friend said, "Oh, why don't you have Elizabeth do the illustrations for your book?" And I thought, "Oh, okay." And so that started getting to, why don't we really make this into this book? And we were thinking of self-publishing. And then I started to realize that it doesn't really work that way when you try to, yes, if we self-published, we could have done it, but she was still just a child, and it was really hard to get her to do illustrations that followed the story and show emotion and stuff. So when I eventually submitted my book, and I went through just a learning, just asking anybody, do you know anyone? Because I'm from Los Angeles, I know a lot of people in the movie business, and I even know some people in the music business, but publishing, I didn't know anybody. So it was just anyone I asked, and then one thing led to another, and it took a journey, its own journey, and now I really love it. But I think because it started out very authentic, that there were some learning curves. I made some mistakes that next time I wouldn't make, but I think that's just natural. You do something for the first time.
Yeah.
But it was hard to it was even hard to end the book, to be honest with you. I came to a deadline. I gave myself a deadline, but there was a reason I had to finish by a certain time, which is another long story. And so I guess as I got closer to that, I was on my last chapter, and it was really tough to end. And I think I've heard that a lot of writers have that, where you just can keep going, and eventually you have to stop. Even painters, when they're painting a picture, you have to stop at some point. And I also learned that your audience isn't stupid. I think that writers, you, especially being a mom, you're explaining things all the time. And so as I would write a page, I'd read it out loud before I would move on. Write a page, read it out loud. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. When you read it out loud, it sounds a lot different than in your head, because in your head, you're all in this world. Then you read out loud and you're like, no. So that was a really important thing that I learned.
Oh, cool.
Less is more.
And for our viewers out there, where can they learn more about your book and pre-order it?
Well, it's on Amazon right now, so you can pre-order on Amazon. ZZ Black, and Instagram, ZZ Black Story. And then my website is wendyplumb.com, and on my Wendy Plumb website is a link to my book as well,
Okay.
and more about the book.
I highly encourage our viewers out there to go check the book out, place in a pre-order, and once it's available and you've read it, please post a review online so that it can raise the visibility of this book and help others find it and enjoy it. And until next time, viewers, as always, go be creative. Go read a book.